This is Jeremy Rohrs, and Jeremy is a very unique member of the automotive industry here in the Woodlands, Texas. Jeremy, how would you describe what it is that you do?
I do a little bit of everything. I try not to, um,
Pigeonhole?
yeah, I don't really want to go pigeonhole myself with one thing. I have a philosophy: you got one life to live. Make it as interesting as humanly possible. I have a unique situation with some very unique clients that I just kind of fell into. There's no real formula specifically for it. But I have a bunch of great clients. They let me do a lot of carte blanche stuff on a lot of really, really interesting builds. So it could be anything from a SWAT vehicle like I drove here today to a one of 12 wide body Ferrari. It's such an eclectic mix of cars because my clients have such amazing taste. And I'm just super, super blessed to kind of be the guy that gets to handle the situation, whatever they need for them.
So, as a car guy, when did you first realize you were a car guy? Like, how young would you go back with that?
Um, I mean, anything that had wheels and a motor, it doesn't necessarily have to be a car.
I
I mean,
agree.
I
Yeah.
did semi-professional BMX racing when I was a little kid, just, for the thrill of it, the speed. But as soon as I was able to get on a motorcycle, it really started from there. So it didn't really matter what it was. As far as like cars specifically, I would say probably my older brother had a lot of influence. I think from my great grandfather, unknowing at the time, it was probably in my genetics. Um,
Clearly.
the but no, my older brother was into cars.
How much older was your older brother?
He's 6 years older than me.
Okay.
So he was always wrenching on stuff like that.
So, when you were 10 years old, you had a brother with a driver's license.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
That's out of control, man.
Yeah. So it was cool, and we lived in the country, so we got away with a lot of things as far as vehicles and driving that we
10 4
probably
on that, brother.
shouldn't
10
have.
4.
I'm 46, so this wasn't like in 2015 we were doing this. Um, but no, I got my first vehicle that I started really doing was almost right before I had my driver's license, and I was able to drive. It was a 1986 Chevy S10.
Oh, yeah.
And
A lot of people got in trouble with those.
yeah, no, this was it's when I kind of noticed that what I liked to do and what attracted me or things that I found aesthetically pleasing wasn't exactly the quote unquote norm.
Hmm.
It didn't mean that it looked bad per se, but I just my taste seemed to be unique. So that was basically a blank canvas, driving my father absolutely ludicrous because
So,
I was destroying the car constantly,
okay,
everything
what
I did
did you
to it.
do to the S10?
So it was channeled,
Really?
dropped. It had an entire
What?
yeah, it had an entire IROC Z front suspension, subframe, everything grafted to it. Full custom interior. It was an extended cab S10.
Which gave you lots of room on the
Yeah,
interior.
all of 12 inches. And if anybody's ever ridden an S10, you remember the seats that
Oh, yeah.
those notorious. There's like a meme about it I think I saw the other day. Um, but I shaved the exterior windows, made them flat so it kind of had like a semi-cab look. The door handles, door locks, extended cab windows, tailgate, tail lights, roll pan, they were all shaved. It was completely smooth.
Oh, that must have looked good.
Yeah, it was super. I mean, it was awesome at the time. It had that body indentation line that goes all the way around the
I
vehicle.
know the car. Yeah.
So I decided to be a wonderful idea to grind that down to bare metal, and I filled that whole entire thing in, sorry, and glassed it, and shaved that all the way around. Put a full walkthrough in the back, and then a cap, so you could basically go from the front to the back of the vehicle. It was
Love
super,
it.
super cool at the time. It never got fully finished, the last iteration of it. It didn't get painted, it ended up getting totaled out, but that's when I kind of knew I was knee deep into it because I was never satisfied with just what was normal or something turnkey per se. My mind was always very creative, and I was always thinking about it. I'd look at the car like a blank canvas,
Yep.
regardless of what stage it was in. I'm like, oh man, that'd probably be pretty cool if I did that, or maybe I should do that. And I just went with it because you got one life to live. I really don't care what anybody else thinks about my
100%,
cars.
brother.
So
That's funny you say because my first vehicle was a K5 Blazer that was my grandfather passed, and it was just his hunting vehicle. And we didn't have it very long before my mother had to pay the first gas bill on that thing. 31 gallons every 3 days
Wow.
at a full service station.
And when was this?
This was in 1984.
Gotcha.
And I hadn't turned 16 yet, and I'd gotten the hardship license. And yeah. So, I mean, even back then, gas was like,
That's a super cool first car, so to speak.
oh, yeah. But, you know, we loved it because it had the AM, FM, CB radio
Oh, wow.
with the 22-foot antenna sticking off the back.
Yes.
And it had the little hook outside the window to keep it down.
Yep.
But if we're going to McDonald's drive-through, you make sure that puppy's up so you can make all the noise in the
Yeah,
world.
just hit every one of the.
Bam,
yeah.
bam, 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 bam. And we're giggling all the way through. Ah, we're cool.
That's awesome.
But not even, you have it 6 months.
Yeah.
My mother got that gas bill. How much on gas?
Right. Yeah.
4-barrel carburetor, small block Chevy.
Nope.
Need a little bit of love on that.
Yeah.
So traded in, and I came home. Mom brought me home in a 1984 Chevrolet S10 Blazer,
Wow, man. Nice.
sporting the 2.8 liter V6.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I had. That's what I had in my S10. I had aspirations of a 305, but it never happened.
I got the, you know, and it was 2-wheel drive, and I caught unlimited grief for that because when I had the Blaze, we were like, at least you got a 4-wheel drive. But this is rural Alabama in the 80s, so the only questions anybody had was, where are you going to lift it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to it?
Yep.
How big are you going to make it? And, you know, and I was just happy to have a car.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't have any money really for gas, much less let's build this thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then my mother snatched that out from me when she saw how much gas was costing. And now I'm in an S10 Blazer, and, oh, I hated that thing.
Yeah.
Because we walked into the showroom, and there, sitting in the showroom, was that beautiful yellow and silver IROC Z28
Oh, well.
Camaro that had just come out. And I'm just drooling, like, with the gray interior.
Yep.
And the,
Yep.
oh,
I literally just finished restoring one. Yep. Guy wanted it exactly like it was.
and, of course, how cool was it with that big clock in between the seats looking up at you?
Well, the thing is how fast did you ever get to drive one or
No, I wasn't qualified at anything back then.
No, I mean even in the 90s or anything. Those seem so fast. I rode in one.
Well, they had a,
Steve Ryder.
it was
had
built
whole
on a
fleet of
racing
those things.
series.
Yeah.
The International Race of Champions car. Well, it's automatically the fastest thing that's ever been made if it's part of a racing series.
Of course, absolutely. And then you get in one in 2022, and you're like, oh my God.
We thought this was
My
fast.
Hyundai Elantra that I got my mother would smoke this thing in reverse. It is insane.
My
But
buddy's
with the
V6
same
Camry.
token, it's about the feel of the car, and it's totally
The
so
era,
it's cool.
yeah.
But oh my God, that thing it's all plastic clunk. It sounds like you're driving like a Chevy pickup. It
Yeah.
feels like you're driving a Chevy pickup
There's
with
nothing
a car
special.
body. I
Yeah.
think it's probably actually the same exact thing.
It's a body-on-frame car, yeah.
It's brutal, but yeah, no, they were the absolute shit back in the day. No, it was the car to have. Yep. No, I remember Steve Ryder had one, and it was the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Oh, I was looking at my mother. $18,000. What do you say? Yeah, we came home with an $11,000 S10 Blazer.
Yeah, no.
And she held that $11,000 price tag over me till the end of time.
Well, hey, my technically my first car my father got from one of his doctor friends. It was his spare car. It was a 1986 Chevy Nova. Now, see, you say Chevy Nova, and you're like, "Ooh, Chevy Nova! Wow, you had a
86
Nova."
Chevy Nova.
And then
I
you're
know
like,
that
"Wait,
car.
1986," and you're like,
Not a car to be proud of.
"Okay, yeah, no." So that was my first car that I ever got. Yeah. Thankfully, that got destroyed, and I can't remember how it died. But then I got to my first, the S10, which is my first actual cool car. But no, man, you were lucky to get the Blazer. Wow,
Well, and
that
then
was
of
the
course,
bee's knees back in my day.
well, it was new.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And the funny part about it was, so and so it's my first car, and I'm like, now it's nice and clean. Like, well, those ugly ass stock wheels. Even back then, I was like, these are just so unacceptable. And I thought, I'd rather ride a bicycle and drive around with these
Yeah,
hideous
you had
wheels.
there's no selection in wheels
None.
back in the day.
So what I wound up
Whatever
getting,
Sears had in their catalog with American racing wheels was like your whole selection.
that's what I got. In fact, and these are the only standard wheel you could even buy in Monroeville, Alabama in the 80s. So I was very fortunate. The truck was this dark brown metallic with the light tan metallic stripe down the middle.
That was the fortunate part.
Yeah,
Okay.
because when I bought the American Racing wheels with the golden centers. They're that off-color gold that almost matched
Yeah, it's tied
the
it all
tan
together.
stripe.
Nice. There you go.
And then for my birthday, my uncle bought me a new Alpine cassette tape head unit to go in my
Jeez,
S10
man.
Blazer. So I had wheels, and then
New car,
new car,
new radio.
wheels, and Alpine. I mean, come on.
Yeah. What else? That's all you need in life.
We're done.
nowadays.
That's it.
Yeah, this is that interview.
I've peaked. Yeah.
No.
So that was my first taste of customization, and I've been, a nut job ever since.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know what triggers it. I have no idea. Because my dad, he likes cars, but he never spent money on cars. He was smarter than that. He was responsible with his money.
I'm saying roll my eyes because, that was
Didn't mean
exactly it.
yeah, I mean, he had he had a Mazda B2200, and he could have been driving a brand new Porsche 911, but he just did better things with his money than pissing it away on a car. I'll never forget.
We are not of that same mindset.
No, absolutely.
Jeremy and
not.
I come from a different way of thinking.
Complete polar opposite. Yeah. As soon as we get money, we're like, okay, the car needs what? A, B, C. But no, I remember the first cool car I was working for a cabinet maker, and my dad pulled up in, I believe it was a 1993 or 1994 Pontiac Grand Am GT, Richard Petty edition.
Oh, I remember that car. Holy
Teal
cow.
with the red stripe down it. It was the absolute most amazing rocket ship I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I only had it for a couple of days before accident happened or whatever. But that was like the coolest car. That was the first time my dad like splurged on some big money on a car like
And
that.
so when it got totaled in a few days, he was like, never again.
Yeah, pretty much. But he was always a car guy. He liked cars. He just, like I said, he didn't spend money on them. Me and my brother would absolutely spend the nth degree of money and loved customizing our vehicles. But yeah, that's where it all started, man. So, but and I've just been fortunate enough that I was on, say, the customer side of the table for a majority of my life. I'm 46 now. Unique situation happened with Texas. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, on the East Coast. That's where I was born and raised. TX2K, obviously massive a thing in Texas.
Well, before it was TX2K, it was the Supra.
Yeah, the
Nationals.
Super Nationals. So back in the day when it originally started, Peter had road course events.
Oh, okay.
I was road racing. I was campaigning my Evo X MR and a Nissan GTR on the East Coast in the Real Time Attack series, Global Time Attack, and a couple other ones I can't remember right now. Somehow they heard of it or whatever, and I ended up being invited to Texas for the first time to be a driving instructor on the road course events for the
wow.
people. So
Okay.
it was super cool. That was the first time I originally came out to Texas. But I was still paying shops to, fix my car and do that. I was still just the enthusiast. I wasn't a shop owner.
You didn't cross over into grabbing tools yet.
No. So I didn't. But that started to get me into the industry to where I was doing a bunch of pictures. I was on the forums, which were a big thing on the Evo and the GTR forums at the time. So much to the point that manufacturers would send me parts. I would do reviews on the parts, and then I would post the reviews on the boards, as almost like a sponsorship marketing type of deal. I did it very well to the point where the owner of Southside Performance ended up contacting me. We worked out a deal that I got commission for everything that I sold, and I got free parts for my Evo X MR.
Nice.
Southside Performance developed all the clutch packs and plates for the DCT transmission.
Wow.
So I very good at sales, very good at talking, something I just happen to be proficient at. I ended up doing so good, I basically bought into the business, moved out to Texas permanently, and started my own Southside Performance in Houston, Texas. So jumped in head first with blinders on like a fool.
Well, because hold on, and you've said a lot of neat stuff, and God bless, I could spend all day unpacking
Sorry.
that too, man. No, I mean it's all good. That's the excitement of it. But as a host, I'm trying to okay, where do I dissect and let me know if I'm losing track here. But to go from Baltimore, Maryland to Houston, Texas, that's not a small thing.
No, it wasn't. But again, I mean, life is a gamble.
What was the?
I wasn't married. I didn't have kids.
That's important.
It was an opportunity. It was incredibly important, and it's not something like I don't have kids, so you can do this. But if I had a family like that, then it wouldn't have been as easy as me just literally making a call like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Texas, and if my amazing, I'm not sure if we were engaged at the time or not. I'll hear about it when I get home. But regardless, my now wife, Joy is absolutely amazing. She would come to me with all the races. She would hold all of my pit gear. She was my pit crew of one, just an awesome person. She was super flexible and willing to drop it all and just come with me. And we moved out. I took my best friend, Timmy Mullen, to basically be my shop manager, and my wife, and we just put everything we had in the race trailer and moved to Houston.
So what made you choose Houston versus other places?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the country because of racing, and different tracks.
Because there's a lot of great places.
No, I mean, the United States is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But every time I came to Houston, Texas, it just felt more home. The people were super polite. It was just a different atmosphere. So I came from like 2011, I might be wrong on the dates, maybe 11, 12, and 13. But I came here for multiple TX2K events to be an instructor. And every time I came back, I fell in love with it more. The East Coast, as you know, obviously has weather, seasons per se. Snow is involved, not typically in Texas. So you don't have, everybody's like turn and burn basically in the spring and summer months to get it done, because when you got 12 inches of snow on the ground, you're really not modding your car. And your Porsche or your GTR or your nice show car, well, it's not going to car shows.
Nope.
It's sitting in the garage stored. So my thought process is, well, I don't want to be selling French fries at the boardwalk, like a seasonal type thing, modding cars. Fourth largest state in the country. I mean, second largest state in the country. At the time was the fourth largest economy in the world. Just insane.
It hasn't gotten smaller.
No, and the diversity of money in Houston, say for, pharmaceutical and oil and gas, it's a very diverse group of money. So it's not
it's like a crossroads almost here.
No, it's amazing. And
plus the international aspect, people don't appreciate just how international the Houston region is.
It's incredibly diverse. A lot of money, incredibly diverse. The car culture, I thought I knew it before I came here, which was I didn't know anything. It's nuts. It's crazy here, and it's all year long.
Yeah,
there's literally not a downtime.
12
it
month
could
down,
be
yeah.
35 degrees outside, and it could be 110 degrees outside. You're still seeing cool cars on the road.
Yeah,
there's still. I think the only day we really have off for an event is Christmas or something.
Yeah, there's
like
literally
a couple holidays, but somebody's always doing something.
Yeah, from Thursday through Sunday, those 4 days, there is a car show of some kind, morning or evening, going on somewhere in the Houston region.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome place.
People don't realize it.
For starting a business, it was an odd
car business,
no brainer.
Yeah,
great location all year long, big money,
and
it's a huge area.
And as Houston, we're also a port of entry to the United States.
Yeah.
So when you're bringing things in from international, it doesn't go to other ports first.
Yeah, and you're centrally located for customers. So I could have a client shipping a vehicle from New York, just the same difference as it would be from California. It's a great place to be for sure.
Have you heard of an engine builder called Smeding Performance?
No, I have not.
They're in San Antonio.
Okay.
They moved from California, for the tax break.
Yeah.
The business friendly environment, but as they put it, this way we can charge one price for shipping anywhere.
Yeah, it makes sense because you're literally in the middle of everything. It's the same, left to right, east coast, west coast.
Or it's going to Washington, D.C. or Washington State.
Yep, same, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So what was your first? All right, so you moved down here, I guess, to race and open a speed shop, basically a performance shop. What was your first customer?
Oh man, that's horrible that I don't know it. I have my first dollar, so.
And I don't mean like a guy who bought a radar detector off
sure.
Like a guy who said, I want you guys to fix my car, make my car better.
Yeah, I'm a horrible individual with names. I remember the specific car. It was the first guy.
That's a car guy, okay? I don't
remember
the guy's name or face, but I can tell you he's a 67.
You would laugh if you went through my phone. It's literally Camaro guy, Porsche 911 guy, it's all that, because that's how I remember things, is by the vehicle,
How
not the
car
name.
guys think. Don't be offended. That's
No,
just,
and
it's a universal trait I find.
yeah, and I'll see the car going down the road, and I was like, I know that guy. And I mean, I don't know, I can't remember his name to save my life right now, but we met. I know that car.
I know his '84 retro date 911
Yep,
with the wing
yeah,
on the
I got
back.
his invoice right in my head. I can see the whole thing.
Probably
But
memorize
God
his phone
bless
number,
me, I
but
can't-
not his
yeah,
name.
I can't save his name. So no, but no, it was a it was a Nismo 370. I got carte blanche to do whatever I wanted. The guy had pretty much an unlimited budget.
On a Nismo 370.
Yeah.
That's the car that he has a bottomless budget on.
He bought it. He wanted it. He had a whole Fast and Furious type thing that he wanted to get into. He was from England. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't ask my customers those questions. You know what I mean? If it's a cool car to me, or something that
Something
I
neat.
think that we can do something neat to, or something that I can do different that hasn't been done. Like literally, if I've done 2 or 3, whatever. I mean, just say a Porsche 911, and we did an ABC build on them, and I really don't want to do any more of those. I want to do a DEF build. I want to do something else. And it's not because like I don't want to get typecast per se. It's just because, like I said a while ago, dude, you got one life to live, man.
You'll get bored.
I mean, there's a lot of cool cars out there.
Yeah, there are.
So much cool stuff. And I'm super, super blessed to be able to have clients that have the financial means that they buy the coolest cars. And things that I've literally never even seen, vehicles that I've never heard of before. And as a car guy, for me to say
That's hard to say. Yeah.
because it's totally out of my pay grade, some of the stuff that you're talking about. And some of the vehicles that I've even had to be able to in my presence is ridiculous, considering me. But yeah.
I'm with you. I have all these hard, but after a certain age and a certain level of income or a certain level of net worth and a couple cars in the garage, you think you've accomplished something, you're doing something strong, and then you go to any car show or you wind up at somebody's personal garage and they have a couple dozen cars, each car worth more than all of you, like your entire existence.
And there's always somebody bigger. There's always
Yeah.
somebody with more money.
But in my case, it's not like 1 or 2 cars more.
It's like a fleet more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course,
A
each
collection
car
more.
in the collection is worth more. That's a whole nother, like a 0 added to the net
Yeah,
worth,
exactly.
or 2 zeros.
Yeah, yeah. Clearly, I chose the wrong career path.
Right. I mean, nothing. And as much as and it is the crazy part, I don't envy other people's cars. I may be inspired by one of their cars to do something like it for myself, but and I admire a good build or admire something cool someone's done, but I'm never jealous of it. And I find that so many people who have that level of wealth to spend, you can tell they're buying cars just to have a car that nobody else
Exactly.
has.
I know, absolutely. I mean, my one specific client,
But it's just to buy one.
Yep.
I more admire the people who don't want to just buy a better car. Here, let's work with someone and make.
Yeah, a better car. For
And,
sure.
and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
Like when I just sold my GT3, part of the appeal of, I love that GT3 to drive. It's a fantastic car.
How could you not?
The Ford's line wheels I love. The brakes were great. The exhaust is great. But I didn't build that car. That was just parts I put on a good car.
Sure, valid point. The word build gets poured out in the industry a lot.
Exactly. And ultimately, wheels, brakes, and exhaust is not a build.
No, it's not. No.
My 996 Turbo,
When you start doing frame modifications and your body in a car, then you built the vehicle. Yeah.
like my 996 Turbo, that's a build.
Yes.
That we made that carbon fiber roof
To what it
ourselves.
is. Correct.
Yeah, and every
I
part
think
of
after
it,
a certain amount of mods and things you put into the car, it then becomes
a build.
a build, your build.
Like the underground racing car.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like underground racing built the car, but when it came back, like, okay, I need better suspension. I need better brakes.
Yep,
These are the wheels I
exactly.
want. This has got to be dialed in.
Yeah. Then you make it yours.
I don't like the throttle response. I need that different.
Yep.
And that's a build.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's one of the reasons I sold the GT3 is like, there's not a build I can do with this because there's nothing I can do to make the car like significantly better.
No, you could change it aesthetically, like visually, but there, I mean, you're gonna try to re-engineer what?
Right? Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm not.
Let
I'm
me know
not
how that
better.
works.
Yeah. I'm not better than those guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but those engineers all have doctor in front of their name,
Porsche's pretty good at what they do. Yeah,
and they're
for sure.
really good at math.
Yes.
I mean, they got their math
They're pretty locked down.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So, but
yeah.
no, back to answer the question, like with the shop, I don't remember the guy's specific name. It wasn't some super.
But it was an unlimited budget 370 build.
Yeah, like we literally went and had another shop put on like this full custom made. I think that he spent like $10,000 on this full front to back exhaust system, which was just completely retarded. But he just wanted to have a one of one exhaust.
So it was fabricated from scratch.
From scratch, yeah. D3 Performance and Engineering.
Yeah.
Dave Evans does just absolutely belligerently stupid metal, like welding and
I didn't realize you knew
fabrication
Dave
work.
Evans.
Yeah, well,
Jeez, small world.
he ended up being working with the shop in one of the first shops that I started with when I first moved here to Houston. So, but anyway, so he did the full custom exhaust on a car, sounded bonkers. We got to do anything interior we went, so we did all custom interior, seats, harnesses, blah blah blah. And then I did a whole custom Plasti-Dip airbrush job. Well, not airbrush. I used a Plasti-Dip gun, but it looked like an apocalyptic theme on it. And I did my Nissan GTR at the time. So to get to that point before I sound like a complete weirdo for doing the Plasti-Dip thing, so
give the man a chance to explain his Plasti-Dip.
The unique thing, because I don't like to say entrepreneur because it kind of has a pretentious tone to it. I think, in my opinion, it also doesn't roll off the tongue real easy. But I think that qualifies. Yeah, I think that's like, in my opinion, that would be somebody that's like dealing with like super high end of business, like you're buying companies and stuff like that. I like to say I'm a gypsy, or a bit of a gypsy, because I enjoy making money, I enjoy sales, and I just hustle. So it is what it is.
So that's entrepreneurship, brother. It
is, but
entrepreneurship is 90% hustle.
Yeah, no, it's
the hustlers are the ones who make it.
No,
the slackers don't.
That's how I get into the unique situations I do, because I think I look at a situation, in any particular situation, even as insignificant as say the bumperettes on the back of a Porsche 911, say like a 997.1, those stupid little bumper 5-mile-an-hour deals. Long story short, I didn't like them. I thought it looked stupid. The Euro bumpers don't have them. They're smooth. I Googled till I was blind, and I couldn't find anybody that just made like a panel, and it's literally a flat piece of metal. It was so stupid.
I still have mine.
Yeah. So like in like an hour, I made a template, whatever, to the point where now it literally pays for my car notes. We sell so many of these bumperette delete panels. So point of the story is that I looked at what I couldn't get in a different light than just making it, and I took it to where, in a business sense, it could then make me money.
No, absolutely.
So back to when I opened up Southside Performance in Houston with Chris. Chris Gagnon, and I'm probably murdering his name because it's French or something. I don't know what it is. I could never say it right. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well. But Chris,
like entrepreneur.
In my phone it still says Chris SSP GTR. So you know. But so I was doing his marketing and sales because I was campaigning my own car, just racing locally what I could. When I teamed up with Chris, it brought basically a manufacturer to the table. So my training was good. We had like a big budget. Like it was getting real. Like the car was fast. Everything was awesome at the shop. And because of my entrepreneurial whatever, one night after work, me and a fellow employee were doing some shots of Jägermeister after hours. I got a little confident, and for some reason I had a container of PPG Ghost Blue Pearl, like pearl, that dry pearls that you would add to paint, automotive.
Paint. Okay, yeah.
Mica titanium dioxide. At the time, Plasti-Dip only had like red, yellow, green, like flat colors.
Right.
There wasn't anything metallic at the time. So because of the confidence of Jägermeister, I decided to take a $350 worth of dry PPG paint pearl and pour it into matte clear Plasti-Dip. For whatever. We then, long story short, sprayed matte clear plasti dip over a black Dynoc carbon fiber, and it turned this absolutely insane anodized blue. Like, it wasn't like a light bulb that went off. It was like a nuclear freaking bomb over my head
Right.
that went off. So long story short, I started hustling bags of these pearls. I found out what pearl was called. Because if you type in pearl, you're just looking for the wrong thing.
Right,
If
so
you
damn
type in
jewelry.
mica titanium dioxide, it leads you straight to the manufacturer in China. And not China because it's cheap, China because that's where it's mined out of the earth.
Oh wow.
So I ended up getting these kilos. It was so ridiculous. So I'm getting kilos of white ghost pearls imported from China, shipped in. I'm literally individually bagging these things up. It's amazing. It's like cocaine, but it's pearl. It was so bad.
But officer, I promise.
It was we had our shipment seized before. There's big stickers on it. They've tested to see what it is, because I'll get to it in a second. But
I
anyway,
can only imagine what a
so I started
import guy.
I started individually bagging these things in 25 gram and 5 gram sample bags. So they're little tiny like nickel bags and 25 bags. And everything's overseas, so it comes in a kilo.
Yeah.
So it's
Metric.
it's super amazing. So I'm bagging all this stuff up my home. I'm printing out labels. I'm on dipyourcar.com. Fonzie, one of the awesomest people on the earth. I'm on his forum. He's letting me like sell these pearls to everybody. He sees that it catches on, and then basically like shit hits the fan in a really good way. It's super wild. I'm sitting in my desk upstairs. Shop's going this and this and that, and I get a call from Fonzie at dipyourcar.com. And if you know Dip Your Car, if you know Fonzie, you don't. He's huge in what he does. He's just awesome person, but he's big dude. As far as marketing and stuff, very well known. I mean, his videos, millions of views. It was just absurd. So Fonzie's calling me. Long story short, he puts a business proposal together with me that he wants to go in business with me, and he wants my pigments that I'm selling to be the only dipyourcar.com approved pearls.
Ooh.
Which became incredibly lucrative.
I was gonna say, because that has the potential to go one of two ways. Because once you go exclusive with someone, you're locking off other avenues.
Exactly. Oh, and the word exclusivity, it's a dirty word in the car
I
manufacturing
agree.
business. If you have a unique product or you manufacture something, somebody coming to you and asking for exclusivity, it's a really strong word. Like,
Proprietary.
yeah, I mean, that's like it's almost like you're telling me to F off at the beginning of the conversation. But or you're gonna have to have a whole bunch of money to have
Right.
me be exclusive.
Yeah.
But anyway, Fonzie's really good at what he does. He was huge. He had the ability to do what I never ever could possibly imagine to do, and take it to the next level. Long story short, I ended up because Chris and I are really good friends to this day. We talk probably every week. Chris at SSP, Gagnon. He allowed me to purchase him out, to buy him out of SSP. I then stopped working on GTRs and cars, and I was then turned into the only authorized dipyourcar.com installation center in Texas at the time. And then Houston. Then I was doing marketing videos with Fonzie. We were shipping cars to Miami. I flew to Australia to basically Plasti Dip and McLaren. At PPG Global Paint Headquarters.
Whoa.
No pressure, Plasti Dip.
With cameras on.
Yeah, true story. Yeah. And the McLaren in Australia, it financially, it was a $1.2 million car in Australian dollars. And a guy that has literally, I didn't grow up painting cars. I'm not a car painter. Now I am. Let me rephrase that. Now I know how to paint a car. I'm not a car painter.
Right.
I know what I'm doing in a paint booth, and I can do a really good job, but I don't think I've earned the right to say I'm a car painter. I haven't been
hear
doing
you,
it for that
yeah.
long. So somebody that's plasti dipping cars is now flying to Australia to paint cars in PPG Global Headquarters. Yeah,
So that first gig like that.
it went from like nothing with Fonzie
Yeah.
to the moon. And it was nuts.
Now it's
man. It was
game on. Yeah.
It was amazing insight. It was a great opportunity to learn from somebody of that level. Regardless, I probably took in about half of it because I was so ignorant to the situation. But it was an amazing opportunity, and it kind of it again just gave me more confidence in my thought process of one life to live, that you know, you just kind of, if you just go with the flow, you know, it leads you to really good opportunities, and you're not necessarily set down at a desk job like I'm an electrician or I'm a plumber, and not that there's anything wrong with them, but that just isn't me,
you're
you
preaching
know?
to the choir, man.
I obviously.
I mean, I got my degree in finance in college, but I only tolerated college because I was competing in Taekwondo trying to get to the Olympics. So I had the physical motion and activity all day, but I was like doing the studying because I had to have my parents still pay for this.
Yeah.
But I would do what I had to do so I could go do what I wanted to do. And even now, when I started Euro World, you know, I was managing a portfolio, which is, by the way, that work consists of sitting all day at your desk staring at a computer screen, reading
Try
and
not
reading.
to go blind.
Yeah, and you're just reading all the news, trying to pick up on a trend or something that's going to cause a movement that you can be on top of.
Yeah.
Place your bets, be ahead of it.
Candle
make your
graphs all
money.
day are no fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, working from home is fun because my wife kept poking her head on the door saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm working, honey." "Well, I've got this thing. Would you mind fixing it?"
Oh, well, they can get you better. You have your mom move in with you, and then it gets better. But no, my wife is amazing. She works from home. I say she's a programmer, but she's not. She works for a pharmaceutical company. But I work from home. She works from home. So it's an attest to our marriage that we're both still alive at this point. But no, I know what you're saying.
But yeah, I was telling my wife, like, you got to let me work, or I'm gonna go rent an office,
right?
just to get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
you know,
you're going to have your shop again.
Well, yeah.
Off site.
Well, that's what happened. I went and started a shop off site
Yep.
to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So I could be left alone to work. But
how full circle is that?
Yeah, and now, yeah. Exactly.
The lessons we learn. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so expensive. I could have just been
yeah.
for so much less
I know.
money.
It's crazy. Yeah. Yep.
But it's interesting to hear other people. But that's it. It's like it keeps me from losing my mind being at a desk.
Exactly.
The only
Makes
frustrating
life interesting.
It does. But the hardest part is when I bring people in who are far more capable than myself on the lift, under the rack, whatever. And next thing I know, I'm sitting at the desk again going, well, I didn't start a business to hire people to do the thing I want to do.
To babysit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Gotcha.
now I'm right back at the desk all over again. Like,
no, the people that I had wrenching on cars were always, I mean, I hired the best to do the best work. That was the thing, you know, and that's still my philosophy. But, and some of you don't know what Frank and I are kind of like the inside joke is. It's that once, I don't know, naive ignorance or whatever, when you're the outside looking in, you know, and you want to have a shop or open up a shop.
Sounds real cool on paper.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazingly easy. Chris at SSP still laughs at me because I'll never forget, like, oh, so, and the interesting thing is, and this is going to be just to prove how weird my life is. So, and I forgot to mention, I don't know how, but I was contacted once I first got to Houston, Texas, by producers of a TV show. It's called Are You Faster Than a Redneck? And it's literally right when I first got to Houston.
I remember that show.
Wow. So I'm going to lose track where I was going with this. But anyway, so they called me. I thought it was somebody pranking me. I hung up on the producer 3 times. Long story short, it was, I can't remember the comedian's name. It was John something.
John Reap.
John Reap, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the comedian who had the famous line, "Has it got a Hemi in it?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's John Reap. Yeah, he's awesome.
So because of my marketing, I did some interviews with Mobile One The Grid at the Texas Mile when I was doing our campaigning our GTR there. This and that. They offered me an opportunity to be on this this game show, Are You Faster Than a Redneck? And it was basically imports versus the rednecks, essentially. And I had a GTR and the Evo at the time. They wanted the GTR. So it was, you know, 2 import guys against their redneck guys, so to speak. And then at the end of it, they had the Stig redneck, which was a secret
the redneck
driver or
Stig.
whatever.
I remember him.
So it ended up being that my GTR did very well. I made it to the end, and then oh, I can't think of his name, the guy from John Snyder
Oh, okay,
from
yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, Dukes of
I
Hazzard.
know, that's
Seriously. So I'm sitting on the
for our
side.
generation.
Yeah, it's just
for our
retarded.
generation. That's like a really big deal.
This black car, comes screaming down the track. I'm in South or North Carolina sometime. It was a blur because the tranny on my Nissan GTR, which is all-wheel drive at the time, died on the dyno tuning it. We put in a roll cage that my friend, God rest his soul, Conrad made for me. He's not around anymore. Awesome roll cage he made. I wanted it in for the TV show. The tuner's on the dyno. He stops tuning. He eats. Chris and I throw the cage in. Tuner gets back in the car. The whole transmission, nothing but error codes. So after 8 hours, we can only get it. And I'm like, well, have my chance to be on TV. There's like $10,000 prize on the line, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Go out in the parking lot and launch the car. If it doesn't literally completely shit the bed or throw codes or go into limp mode, then throw it in the trailer and call me when it's ready. I'll get in and I'm driving it. So we only had rear wheel drive in a 700 wheel horsepower Nissan GTR. And I've never driven the car in rear wheel drive until I got to the East Coast.
That's a different animal, brother.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I ended up converting the car permanently that way afterwards. But I won all my preliminaries, got to the final thing. Dukes of Hazzard, John Snyder comes out. I'm blown away. I ended up winning the race against John Snyder. I got my $10,000. And I forgot to say, that's what gave me the money to open up my own shop in Houston.
Now that's the story we should have had first. Wow,
I know, but
that's a great story.
Yeah, apologies. So anyway, that's what gave me the money. Now, I thought I had money, 10 grand. So this brings me to I'm talking to Chris on the phone, who is well-versed, had some amazing shops, $1 million businesses. He knows what it takes. And I'm like, but I got $10,000, Chris. The rent's like, $1,800 a month. Like, I got to put down a 2-month security deposit. I still have like $3,000 left. Like, I'm opening up a shop. And he's doing that. He's just laughing and laughing.
I would too. Oh my goodness. Only because I know, and I've spent money on shops. Yeah.
So anyway, back to the point what I was saying with Frank is when you're naive, ambitious, ignorant, whatever you want to call it. I opened up my own shop with $10,000. Got quickly realized it was not enough to open up a shop.
Nowhere even close, brother.
It basically got the doors open, but not the lights turned on.
Right.
And by the lights turned on, I mean the 3 broken fluorescents that it came with. No lifts, no nothing. So anyway, but you have the dream of opening up a shop. A big shop. You want to be like the AMSs, the Forged Performances,
I made
the
that
Emery
mistake.
Motorsports. You want to be the big dog, and God bless those guys for what they are. They're heroes for you need to be able to handle it. Frank and I have had that. I had multiple locations in Houston. The reason why my business is called Floodwater Customs now is literally because they've flooded out 3 out of 5 years. My shop's flooded. But you just roll with the punches,
You got no choice.
Go with the flow. So, but now hindsight 2020, my businesses ran out of my house. It's on my property. I bought property specifically so I could have my shop, my paint booth, my fab shop, everything on my property. And how full circle it went to like, oh my God, I want a shop. I want the biggest shop. I have 15 employees. I got an office upstairs in the mezzanine. I'm
Big
looking
time,
over everybody.
baby.
I walk down at the end of the night, man, I'm just sucking it up. I am so proud of myself. I just take it all in. And then, 10 years later,
You're so
the
tired
joys
these-
of waking up at home
Yeah.
in my sweatpants, making coffee in my kitchen and sitting at my desk and doing an invoice while I'm watching the news. I can't tell you. I really enjoy it.
Remember the commute? Remember the commutes?
I do. And
Dude,
it's against my religion now.
that
I
took
don't
10 years
drive
off my
on
life.
Mondays and Fridays in rush hour.
Not in
I don't
Houston.
do it. It ain't worth it.
Nope.
Not in Houston. So anyway, that was the whole shop thing. But I put myself out a lot there. I am very open-minded and allow myself to be open-minded to new situations and things like that. I mean, so I could walk out this door and somebody could stop me and talk to me about the truck that I'm driving, and next thing I know, the guy sells t-shirt presses for a living. And I'm like, I could probably hustle some t-shirt
You're right.
presses.
Well,
The chance of me not thinking that I could outsell the next guy on something is pretty slim to none. So that's just literally how it'll work. And then 6 months from now, I'm going to be selling t-shirt presses. I don't even know if that's actually a thing, but
Hey,
whatever. But you know what I'm saying.
I do. I mean, hey, I thought I could do carbon fiber,
So
and I put my time and effort in that until it kicked my butt.
yeah, no.
And when that first catalog
Did it
came in
kick your
from,
butt just because you're a perfectionist
no,
and you expected to be really good at it going in? Because that whoops my ass.
well, that's the hardest for
I have
everything. Yeah.
OCD, like
Yeah.
not in the light switch term, in the like, if I didn't tighten down a bolt all the way, or if the panel isn't,
Well, then I won't sleep. I won't. Be able
I'm
to
like
sleep.
up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
If I even question that whether or not I tightened it
oh
down.
yeah, if and that's worse because it comes into my head. Clearly, I'm questioning it. Clearly, it must be wrong. And then I'm out in the garage at 3 in the morning. My wife is like, "What in the f are you doing coming to bed at 6 a.m.?"
I was, yeah, and I've been there.
But
And
that
that's the-
stopped me from
yeah.
that was a hard thing for me to overcome when I would try new things because I wanted to be good at it, like some of the God-given, so to speak, talents that some people naturally have. Like I was blessed with being able to draw well. It was just something. Soccer came very naturally to me. So I was good at it, and those things kind of, you're like, oh, well, I was good at this, I should be good at that. And then you're not.
I think we
you're
all
like,
suffer from that on some extent.
and then you're
yeah.
not like, no,
You
I had
hate
my
not being good at it.
carbon fiber just
Yeah, same here.
beat me like a redheaded stepchild.
Well, and of course, I made absurd mistakes in basic business because I was so excited to do the carbon fiber. So, the tech who wanted to do this, I just let him come on board, and I'll just pay you hourly, and until we can make something we can sell. And well, we really need to have certification. So I just sent him off to Lamborghini certification school, and
bless your bank
no
account.
contract because
Wow.
because he needs me, I need him. Where's he going to
And
go?
everybody will be honest with each other, right?
So I've paid for a Lamborghini certification for carbon fiber, but that guy,
Yeah.
you know what he's doing now? Of course, he took off.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Plumbing what? Don't leave me hanging. What's he doing now? Better or worse, at least?
oh, he's doing so much. He's not just doing worse. He's burned bridges at every single shop in Houston so badly
That's how it goes with some people, man.
that he is now working as a porter or a semi-porter at the motorcycle dealership that gave him his first job as a 16-year-old in high school, doing damn near the same job. He's my age.
So that's just like the guilt trip thing here. I'll give you that. No, and you know what's and to say that, see in where I'm from in Maryland and maybe and not just Maryland or whatever on the East Coast in general, you don't have there. It's small. Okay, like I could leave Baltimore and drive from Baltimore City, like dead nuts in the center of Baltimore City. I could drive through Delaware and all the way halfway into New Jersey, like exit, whatever, 7A. By the time I drove across Houston in rush hour, and I'm not being facetious.
No,
Literally the distance.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
you
because
think about
it's well known that Houston, the physical size of Houston,
Harris County is just absurd.
it's larger than the state of Maryland,
Yeah, no,
and that's just one city.
it's ridiculous. So with that size reference being said, when you're in say Maryland or say Bel Air, Maryland specifically, you have shops like Agile Tuning, Agile Automotive, and I don't know of anybody else in that particular town, which reinforces my point. If they do shit work, it spreads real fast
There's not a lot
because
of
there
people.
isn't 17 other shops to dilute the customer base,
Right.
to dilute the shit talking and all that. So, but what I did notice in Houston is there is a lot of shit talking because there's so many shops. You're adding more cooks to the kitchen essentially, but there's a massive demographic of customers. There's a massive amount of shops. And there's a lot of guys that go from shop to shop to shop like that, burning bridges. I've had a couple of them myself. And that's what also makes it attractive, getting out of the babysitting 15 guys at your shop type of thing, if that's not your gig or something
Let them
you're
go be somebody
particularly
else's
proficient
headache.
at.
Yeah.
True. So
It gets old. The
Yeah.
babysitting gets old. The vendors who come in making promises that don't deliver gets old.
yeah, absolutely.
The customers who make promise and want you to take on big projects without paying up front gets old.
The dreamer.
The dreamer, they come in.
I mean, God bless them. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just they're dreaming bigger than their budget, and so a lot of people in the industry are ignorant to what it takes to achieve said dream.
Yeah.
on our or that particular shop owner's level. Like, you don't go to Emery to build you a half-ass Porsche or thinking that you're going to get a deal.
Yeah, you're right.
So don't go to Emery with some massive, like,
Right.
crazy dream that you have and then expecting not to get some crazy 17-page $1.5 million invoice. But, it is what it is.
Well, and you made an important point there, with the dreamers that come in. And the crazy part is how many times you try to be nice about the reality of what they're asking, what it's really going to cost, and this is what they're going to get what they want.
For sure.
And they don't understand what goes into it, and then they get angry.
Yeah, well, that definitely can happen. For sure.
I think that was a hard thing for me to accept, was people getting angry with me for telling them the truth.
Well, no, the truth hurts sometimes, and their dreams don't want to get crushed. And when you tell somebody, hey, the house is on fire. I mean, if you want to realize it or not, it's on fire. So I have to state, and the difference between that and the reason why that you get into that situation and I get into that situation is because we're not shitheads.
I'm not going to try.
We're honest with the customer.
Yeah.
That's not that way. And me not having, I'm 46. I started modding cars in 1993. I was on the other side of the counter as a customer from 1993 until 2012, when I started getting the benefits of being on this side of the counter, having, accounts at turn 14, XL parts, blah, 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 blah. Not paying $125 an hour for labor, getting it at cost. But, that changes the game. But I think that gives me a great perspective, because I know what has been done to me that I don't want. I've been hosed plenty of times as a customer.
100%.
But so as a business owner and the guy on this side of the counter, I got to tell the person what it is. If your expectations isn't what I can, one, deliver, or two, isn't reality for both what's actually real, like I can't make your car fly, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how much you have, money-wise. But it's also, you have to put it in perspective, because I'd rather have an uncomfortable conversation with a customer today for being honest and telling them I can't deliver for them than me doing what a lot of shops are guilty of, which is just telling the customer or the person what they want to hear.
Oh, which is the worst.
Taking their money.
Yeah.
Their car sits in a corner
for months or years.
Years.
We see that.
I just got a car, a 996 that was taken apart because a shop gave the guy the bullshit dream of building a track car so that he didn't wrap his GT3 RS around a tire barrier. We'll build you this 911 996 track car, and who cares? Well, they took the car apart like a kid would take apart a TV, and then it sat in the corner for 2.5 years, and I get it in a box truck and multiple loads on a tow truck. But that's what happens. You told the customer what they wanted to hear. You just made up what sounded great at the time, but you had no way to
no means
to bring it to fruition.
Yeah.
It was just either some horseshit or a dream in your head that you were hoping you could figure out.
The worst part is being the shop who's caught in the middle of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Frank, send my engine out to get built and handle everything else in house. And that's what I've done that a couple times. And so he said, do you know someone local? Yeah, I do. Let me see if we can.
Like pulling it from another shop to you?
Well, no, he brought it to me. And the whole point was to take the engine to another shop.
Oh, wow. Good times.
And so there's a buddy of mine who didn't specialize in Porsche engines, but he had been begging me for a couple of years, Frank, give me a chance with like a Porsche motor or a BMW motor or something. And the only reason I gave him the opportunity was because even though he was doing LS engines, he had the proper machines to properly machine the heads. He had the really good machines to properly clean the blocks. Mm-hmm. He had the proper equipment to make sure the cylinder in the block was perfectly perpendicular.
Yeah, all honed or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he had all the machines to make all these things happen on an engine. And so, and he'd been doing it for a while. So the shop, his processes, his machines were all developed and dialed in. He had all the expertise he needed to learn this motor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a discount because it's my first one. And give me a chance to learn on it.
This can go one of two ways.
You're right.
I don't know what's coming, but it can go one of two ways. There's absolutely zero gray area.
Exactly. And you're dead on correct, accurate. And of course, the opportunity was to have this come together great. Customer gets a great motor at a great price. There's still a little sliver in it for me. And now this guy who's been my buddy for other jobs now has a new area of expertise he can promote and develop. And then of course now I've helped everybody and I'm the good guy in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the plan.
Yeah. I figured that's where this was going. I can tell by the little hints and the tone of the mannerism.
1 year later, I still don't have a motor.
Yeah, yep.
Customer starts losing patience.
Yeah.
So I'm making the phone calls, and now the engine builder is cussing me out for pushing him too hard.
Oh no, dude, you're now. If I could count the times that I literally get blamed for asking what the person said they could deliver, I mean, I'm $1 for every time I'd be rich.
Yeah, and then that's what and everybody I deal with, I say, look, I'm not here to push a hard time frame on you, but you tell me.
Oh no, I don't even push the money.
You tell me when you think you can do it, and let me know if there's a problem in between. And we're talking, month. I'm calling them.
I often wonder if myself
calling them.
I've gotten to the point now where I wonder if it's because I'm so, not lackadaisical, but because I'm not asking them to rush and I'm not breaking their balls on the price that they gave me. I respect another business enough that I don't do that. I mean, if it seems fair, you're not bending me over or something ludicrous, then okay, cool. Yeah. 6 months and $6,000 done. Cool. Okay, that's it. That's what we agreed to. I didn't ask for that price. I didn't ask you to get it done. Hey, I need it in 6 months. I just said, look, I got A that needs to get done. How much is it going to cost to get done? And when will it be done? You said this and that. I said, cool, let's do it. Okay, well, a month after 6 months, because I'm not an impatient person, you'll ask them.
Yeah.
And then literally next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you're getting cussed out. You're sending a motor to get somewhere, and then you just lost your $6,000, and then you got back to where you are. Except for the cute part is it was your responsibility with the customer.
And now you've got to make that hard phone call.
I don't make the phone call, Frank. I eat it.
It's
dude.
The worst.
I'll tell the customer. I mean, there's a rare time that I've had to tell the customer that. I will not lie to the customer about it, but I'll omit the truth and eat the financial cost. If I have to pay Larry 15 times more to get it done so I can still get good with Brett, then that's what's going to happen. And then I'll tell Brett when we're bullshitting having a beer over his project at the end of it, I'll be like, man, you'll never guess what I had to go through for this tranny. But it ain't his responsibility. Nope. And that's the difference back to you and me.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of shops that'll be like, oh no, look.
But you lost money on the job. Why are you doing it?
Jeff screwed me on the motor, man. I'm sorry. I got messed up on the motor. I need you to buy another motor. It happens so often. Well, I can't do it because I feel like a shithead.
Well, you do, and the customer,
I'm like, I'm gonna run to this guy in the grocery store and he's gonna give me a dirty look, and I care about. I don't want.
You presume you're gonna see your customers again.
Yeah, I don't care what people think about what I do, what I wear, what I look like, but I care what people think about me as an individual. Like, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? Not do you like me because my hair's cool or my car, but am I a trustworthy shop, or do you think I'm a shithead? Like that matters to me, but anything other than
this guy does solid business. Take care of him,
Yeah, it just that's what you care about. Yeah. And actually, if you probably don't, then you're probably a shithead.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm 100% with you. And the thing I guess the one little special thing I brought into the industry was a business oriented viewpoint on that exact situation, almost like an accounting viewpoint. So as a small business, the tiny expenses matter so much to making money on a job.
Yeah, at all. Yeah.
And it doesn't take much for one little thing to go sideways and all profit on the job is lost. Okay. It takes almost nothing.
The chances for it not to happen.
Are almost non-existent.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I figured out from an accounting perspective is, say you had to eat the cost on something that made the job completely not profitable. In fact, you've lost good money on the job. Well, what I learned was from an accountant is you go ahead and eat the expense. You collect the money you promised from the customer, you deliver the product. So now you got this loss in your books. I'm a loser. I lost money. I can't run a business. No, not at all. You just take that money that you've lost and you don't move it into lost on the job. You move it over to another part of the books called marketing expense. And that's legit.
But you can use it for that at least, because you weren't a shithead. Customer isn't suing you.
No.
He's not lighting you up on Facebook like a Christmas tree, which, like, when I grew up, that wasn't a thing.
Right.
I mean, it's not the, like, I'm 46, I'm not like that old, but
I didn't
like,
even have the internet. You kidding me?
no,
Much
there
on
weren't
social media.
there was no computers in my school.
Yeah.
I was thinking I was a senior in high school, and the computer we had was, I don't even know what it was, but it was literally to learn how to type.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't for like
Not
nowadays.
computer skills.
No, there was no cell phone. I don't even remember. I didn't have there was no cell
Yeah.
phones. But anyway,
Yeah,
so you didn't
are-
have that social media blasting
Yeah,
when
well,
you did. But now that scares the shit out of me as an individual that didn't have to experience that and didn't. And I think for the people that now that are younger shop owners, it's just such a commonplace. It's just like, oh, it's just going to happen. But
Well,
I still avoid it at all costs.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I don't do anything differently, but that's just,
Yeah. Quality work.
I live
done
by
no
the golden
backwards.
rule, man. I was on the other side of the counter. I got bullshitted so many times. I mean, like bullshitted like a 1990 60 Minutes episode where your mom goes to get an oil change and they tell her the tranny's blown, your rack and pinion's gone. Like
And
that.
that's part of the reason I got into the industry, because I witnessed people get taken like that.
Oh, all day. Yeah.
And just like you, I started from the other side of the counter.
Yep.
And I came in going, well, I've got a business degree. I've got all this business experience. Certainly I can do it better.
Yeah. No. Well, you can at least do it honest. You know what I mean?
Well, and ultimately that's what it was. I could afford to be honest.
You didn't have to be a liar or rip anybody off to pay the rent at the end of the day. And that's what I never had to do that either.
This shop's primary function in my life is a tax write-off.
Gotcha.
Primary. I'd like to make money at it. I really would. But, it's being a shop owner for this long, I came to appreciate just how hard it is to make a living at it. And I used to begrudge the hell out of shops for doing things the way they did, thinking, oh, they're just trying to make another buck off me. But once you're in the shop and handling the operations, and I'm having to, instead of having to go to the bank and have a conversation for an open line of credit for my bank to do cash flow loans, I could afford to just do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing it myself, all I could think was, dear God, what if I didn't have the ability to do this? I'd be in so much trouble.
Well, you wouldn't be there. You'd be doing something else.
Yeah.
If this was easy financially, easily mentally, or anything else that's attributed to owning a business, a whole hell of a lot of people. I mean, that's technically the American dream, or one of them is to own your own business. To own your own property,
Work for
own your
yourself.
own land. Exactly. Yeah.
And so,
Good in theory.
yeah, sounds great on paper.
Yeah. Real good on paper. Until the paper is your P&L report.
Yeah. And it's on fire, and the building's on fire, and everything's on fire.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, I not to the level of where you're at, but I don't need to I don't work on cars and do customer builds to pay the bills. It's not my
Right.
main source of income.
Exactly.
It was at a time, and that's all I was doing, and I had a lot of employees, but times have changed. I have other means of income now. I do it because I love being able to. I've lived vicariously through my customers that have absurd budgets, generational wealth
What's that like?
budgets.
Yeah.
And I don't envy it. I'm extremely grateful, and I just it is what gives me the ability to do that. But it gives me a very good perspective, and I think that's also why I'm where I am today, because of that same philosophy.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, good things happen to good people, regardless if it happens right away. I mean, karma, whatever. You do good things, and you have a better chance at good things happening
Right,
to you
of
than
course,
if you're,
yeah.
not a bad person. And
Because you see the shops that rip people off, and I'm sure
it's a
you.
challenge.
and
dude.
I'm-
It's a challenge to do. It's a challenge. Challenge accepted.
Right. Well, and it's funny. One of the weird things I learned, and it's to this day, I'm still, if I hadn't heard this same story so many different times from so many different people just in the Houston area, I would have never believed it. And the story I've heard many times over, I'll just paraphrase the concept, is how often a functioning shop changes hands by virtue of the owner having, quote unquote, had enough, and tosses the keys to his lead tech and says, I'm out, it's yours. and walks.
Or the famous one in Houston, which is like there's 17 friends that thought it'd be a brilliant idea to all start a shop.
Oh, when they all
together.
partner in to start a shop,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a nightmare.
A partner. And
yeah.
I'm thinking, like, is it like one, I know better. It's all BS. There's no actual partnership. You're not like breaking down, you know, percentages on the books and things like that. But you got 5 dudes that go into it. I was guilty of having some friends and I go into a race fuel depot business, which consisted of, and super quick. We're downstairs after hours. One of my friends can't find race fuel. Friend of mine, Edward Yip, couldn't find race fuel for whatever crazy car because he's got a bunch of money and has amazing taste in vehicles. Couldn't find race fuel.
Now,
in Houston,
a particular type of race fuel, or
I think he was looking for like MS 109 or something,
which is a pretty common race fuel.
Yeah, super common. But there was only like one place. I can't even remember the name of it now, and it wasn't anything. And then I was sitting down there. I was like, man, you need like a race fuel depot or something, you know, like basically like a Home Depot with, you know, all the different fuels. And no lie, I literally excused myself from the conversation, which was in my sales office downstairs, you know, right next to the showroom. I went upstairs and then I went on GoDaddy and started Googling race fuel depot to see if it was a trademark name, to see if it was a website, if it was a thing that I could do. Like 30 minutes later, I literally bought the website and started Race Fuel Depot upstairs, like through GoDaddy, because it's that easy, and I was that naive. But we did that between some friends. It didn't work out. We all stayed between friends, but it was like 4 dudes put in some money. It was a shit show. Okay. So when I see that happen in Houston with like, and this was just selling fuel.
And that's just friends with a little bit of money for fuel.
Yeah, for selling gas. That's it. Not working on cars, parts, and all this other stuff. So it goes
south hard. It
goes south fast. There's very few times that a partnership works out in that regards for long terms. It's few and far between.
No,
100%. So if you're thinking about doing something that with your friend, don't. I would suggest staying friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep 100%. Your friends your friends.
Well, and it's funny you say that because when I went to start Euro World, and I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And I had my ideas. So, like anybody else with an idea, I never talked to my wife, but I talked to my friends in the industry, say, hey, I'm thinking about starting my shop because this is how I want to do it. And I mean, I look back on it, every single one of them, they either said, don't do it, you'll absolutely regret it, or they said, why would you start a shop?
Right?
Like, what do you mean?
Why do you don't need to do that. Why do you want to do that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. You don't need to do this. Why would you? One of them said, why would you do this to yourself, Frank?
Right. Yeah.
And of course, I was like, well, why do you all keep saying that? And of course, being my friends, they said, Frank, you don't understand what it's like behind the desk here. You don't want to do this. Yeah. And my response was, well, you're not me. You're not Frank Lee.
Now you're telling me not to. So now it's like
you don't understand what
hold
I bring
my
to the
beer.
table.
Watch
this. Exactly. Watch me burn money like it's free.
I'll show you.
So many $100 bills.
Look how good of a shop owner I am.
Yeah.
Huh?
Gasoline fueled bills. Light the matches. Let it burn, baby. Burn.
Tinderbox.
And so, here I am. Damn near 10 years later, and. When I was presented with the idea for this podcast, I went to the same group of people asking about the idea of a podcast.
Why would you do this, Frank?
Well, no, and they said something completely different. Well, the one thing they said 2 things. And they all said the exact same 2 things. The first one was, it's a much better idea than starting a shop.
Valid comment. Yeah, good point.
And then they're like, can I be on it?
There you go. Yeah. Much easier.
Like, well, yeah. Well, where else am I going to get guests? Yeah, exactly. I can't call my friends to be on my podcast.
Could you imagine?
It's going to be quiet.
Completely different topic. Could you imagine being a shop owner with 15 employees during COVID? Not even, and you can segment it down.
Well, they were actually less affected than any other types of businesses. They're considered essential.
No, even that, but the supply chain issues. Your employees. Getting sick, and then I don't know how many shops.
My hair, I'll just do it by myself.
Yeah, but I'm saying, imagine if you had 5 techs
with cars on the lift waiting on parts.
5 techs with kids. The kids are getting sick. The school. I've heard the people that I know in the industry that had multiple techs was an absolute disaster. And because you're paying, you could have your whole shop closed down because Larry got COVID. And now you got 16 employees. They all got COVID. Their kids got COVID. Everybody at 6 degrees of separation has COVID. Your whole business is shut down. But you know who doesn't give a shit? The customer who wanted their car for their car show on Friday because God forbid they had to have the cold air intake on their Civic, you know?
In time for the
And
car
they're
show.
going to light you up on a Christmas tree on social media if they don't get it.
We're a shop in Houston. These guys don't care.
Customers sometimes...
They rip me off.
Yeah, no. I lit Frank, no, true story. I lost my house in Hurricane Harvey 2 months after I bought my dream home, and my shop got flooded. I had a customer I won't mention the car. I had a vehicle in the building with mold mediation happening. I had to break into my own shop to paint the customer's car, to plasti dip. I don't want to say paint because paint sounds fucking important. This is plasti dip. To plasti dip his car in my booth during the whole entire after Harvey process. Lost my home because he was so irate with me and so pissed off, and having lost my home and my business, and both being undergoing mold remediation. I think is big massive machines all over the shop. It was bagged like E.T., like a scene from E.T. It was nuts, and that's what I still had to do to get his car out of there. And did I get a thank you? No, I got a fuck you, but whatever. But that's
About time.
Yeah, but that's literally how customers can be with stuff like that. I don't have those customers now so much. Even my super like uber awesome customers can still get a little pissed off. Far and few between. But no, that's what you sign up for, man. When you're in a shop, it's not all rich customers coming with blank check builds with race cars. You're getting cars that look like a bomb went off, that have ant farms coming out of them. Ain't nobody got money. They're doing chargebacks on their credit cards.
They don't tell you about those chargebacks.
They're telling you they're sending you text messages on Sunday, cussing you up because their valve cap is off.
Well, and then there's the other thing. Those same customers, the wealthy customers, just because they're wealthy doesn't mean they have open checkbooks either.
No, and it doesn't mean they don't have expectations.
They have expectations
far higher typically.
Oh, and let me tell you, not only are they high expectations, but they are frugal. You understand, you learn pretty quickly, oh, this is why they're wealthy.
That's the thing. It's not just a bullshit saying. That's literally how they became, that's the reason why they have that money is because they didn't blow it all on car shit like me, without keeping receipts and knowing and doing it like financially smart.
Exactly.
You know, there's a reason why he has a 1 of 12 Ferrari. You know what I mean?
And
I'm the guy that's working on it.
And it's one of half a dozen Ferraris he has in his Ferrari collection.
Exactly.
Don't count his Lamborghinis.
But no, they are. They want all the they don't know. You got to have it all goes with the customer.
Yeah. But people see the high ticket prices, and you're like, yeah, you see this
a whole lot of responsibility.
You see this $4,800 ticket.
Yeah.
There's really $6,000 worth of work in there.
Yeah.
And I didn't make $500 on the job.
No.
Because the customer was that tight on me the whole time. Yep. And let me tell you, that's why I'm not impressed by big ticket bills. When I see a whole body kitted suspension, big wheeled wing, custom built car from scratch, and the shop's so proud of doing it, all I can think was they probably lost $50,000 on that job.
Yeah. Especially
is it bad that I think like that?
No, because it's the truth, and it's especially the truth if you're a shop.
Did you say that was the truth, Jeremy?
It is. It's I mean, the rare occasion you have doing that is, I think, is when you're more in, not necessarily concourse to like Pebble Beach type of level stuff,
and that's restoration. That's not even a shop. That's
it's to where like I have a customer recently that is a blank check build on doing a Safari 996 build. I can do whatever I want on it, but he has expectations. Invoices got to match. If there's 15 different itemized parts, I'm simply not putting parts $6,700. Everything's itemized. It's all got to be legit. When you're dealing with customers of that stature and builds like that, you have to have all your ducks in a row.
100%.
But it's different for me doing a build like that and not having 15 employees doing it, because you're killing all the profit margin on it. Mm-hmm. So there's a real big difference in that. Like if you or I get one of those builds where it's like, okay, body kit, this and this and this and that, it still sucks. It's not something that you want to do, but you don't have 15 mechanics or however many employees you have or however much your overhead is just nitpicking all your profit margin out of that. So not that they're any more attractive to do, but you can still have a better chance at least making some money off of it.
Frank, what is this? $100 of shop supplies. That's 14 shop towels and a case of brake parts cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, go buy shop towels and brake parts cleaner.
I'll tell you how crazy it is.
Yeah,
But
they're not cut meanie brakes on those. I'll tell you what.
yeah, no,
And
exactly.
they don't care how big a roll I buy.
No, everything right now is going up in pricing, ridiculous. That's why I was saying I can't imagine. I still have on order, and I'm not going to cancel the order because I literally want to see how long it takes. So I had an F12 that we did a crazy customization on for a client, and it was a car. But right before he got the good deal on the car because it was in an accident, and by an accident, some guy literally bought a brand new Ferrari F12, got 16 miles away from the dealership, and just drift kinged it into like a whole row of parked cars. So the Carfax was like from the bumper right all the way back around the car. So he lost control and just ate it into the cars. So long story short, I need to get the door handle off to wrap it. Yeah. On the F12, they got this little Scoopy door handle deal with this. Ironically, the same size thread pitch bolt that holds your plastic light cover onto your house, like your light switch, is the same size that goes into a Ferrari F12 door handle.
Yeah, people don't realize what quality of parts are on these cars sometimes.
But that was 2.5 years ago that I worked on that car. And 2.5 years ago, I ordered that single bolt from Ferrari Scudiera. And because of COVID and they were shut down in Italy, that little bolt or nut or screw, whatever you want to call it, is still on back order. So with that being said, yeah, I can't imagine like having to order, it would just be insane.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate that I'm doing these builds. I don't necessarily have deadlines like that.
Well, you can also, plus with what you do is a lot of fabrication work, it seems like. Like custom parts.
I'm personally not, I don't want to take credit for doing something I'm not, but I go to the best people that I know of in this town.
We have fabricators in Houston.
Yeah, correct. To do the best job because I have the best customers and I want to deliver the best that I can give to my customers.
But my point is you're not waiting on that part from China or Italy.
Correct. Exactly.
It's Jeremy and his team making it happen from scratch.
Yeah, typically. And as much as humanly possible.
Well, I mean, in other words, that prevents, that protects you from the risk of supply chain.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where you want to be.
No, unfortunately, my metal prices have gone up like 4 times in the last 2 years. So for something that a part, for example, that I paid $5 for, though I just got an update 2 days ago, is now $17 for the same exact piece of metal that cost me $5 2.5 years ago. $17.78. So
it sounds like no big deal for the one thing, but some of the work he does, he's doing multiples and severals of that, and now, and now you've got to explain to your customer why your cost has gone up, 50%, 75, 80%,
300%.
300%.
Yeah. So
I mean, we're even what it is. Yeah. My daughter who rides horses, the big thing we're having to deal with is
another cheap hobby.
Well, feed prices, 500% in a year.
Yeah.
Just feed.
No, it's insane.
Try and get hay.
I do.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's
everything. It's nuts. Yeah. Pig food, like literally pig. We rescued pigs from the SPCA. Big, massive, like 350-pound potbelly pigs. But literally, pig food has gone up like 2 or 3 times.
We're going broke feeding our pets.
I know, right? Come on. But with big customers comes big responsibility, because those customers also. I got a guy now that I mean, he has, I don't even know where his budget is. It's one of the tops that I could even imagine of any one of my customers. But what I've also know for a fact of him, he's no bullshit. If I screwed him over or started doing something, I'm not going to get a shitty phone call on a weekend, which you think is like a bad thing. Because my customer, short of my phone being turned off for this interview, my phone literally does not go off. If Brett calls me at 2:00 in the morning and tells me he needs me to drive to downtown Houston to wash his windshield, I'm fucking getting up and I'm going downtown with a smile on my face. Yes, sir. No, sir. because that's what got me this. That's what my customers are going to do. That's what that's literally, it's not that they expect it because they're percentages. That's the level of concierge service that I will give them. And that's why I have that dude as a customer.
And he probably wouldn't bother you unless it was something really
No,
worth
and
doing.
that situation literally never happened. But I've gone down, but my customers, to where I'll build blank check builds for them, to where they trust me enough to pick them up from the airport, drop them off, pick their kids up, drop their wife off, take their cars when they're not out of town, deliver them to their penthouse when they're not out of town. To one of my customers literally knows that I've sold vehicles for her. She was about ready to get bent over selling a G-Wagon, thinking that she was like getting good money for it. And if you don't know the G-Wagon market, it's
insane.
belligerent,
Yeah.
full plaid right now. She was going to get like $145,000 for her G-Wagon. I ended up getting $15,000 more for the vehicle, 2.5 years than she paid new for it, after she had owned it for 2.5 years, put 47,000 miles and one accident on it.
Wow.
So with that being said, and I was honest with her, with that being said, to where she literally wrote a check to me and my wife for like fertility treatment. Literally sent me more than the commission that I asked for because I was honest with her and I didn't bend her over like she was about ready to get taken.
Jeez.
Brought me to tears, couldn't believe it. But those are the customers that I have. That same lady literally brings me $178,000 23 karat diamond necklace to sell for her. Her friend then brings me about $160,000 in watches to sell.
Jeez.
So you all kind of get into that thing with it. You develop their trust, but those are the things, and that's the type of relationship I have with my customers, and that my customers have with me, because I'm not a shithead. Because you get a good name to yourself. And know this, and this isn't like cliche, but one thing that I would say as a shop owner, and I don't have like some recipe to get into the business or the clientele that I do, but one thing that golden rule is huge. You treat every single person that you would want to be treated. And you know exactly what I mean. You know exactly what you don't want to happen when you're purchasing anything. So you literally know what not to do, not to be a shithead about it. So it's real easy, man. It's not a hard thing to do. But
well, and that's the only free thing you really get to do in this business.
absolutely.
Everything else costs.
The other thing that's really important is look at this long term.
Yeah.
Short term means nothing.
No.
That whole bullshitting the customer and telling them what they want to hear, so they write you that check for something that you literally aren't going to do because you don't know what you're doing and you never had the resources anyway. Don't think of it that way. You tell the customer what they want to hear, and maybe, if you're lucky, because you were honest with them and you didn't bend them over and you didn't take their money, that they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that Frank didn't fucking lie to me and he didn't take advantage of me and tell me what I want to hear, so that one, the next time that they have a question or maybe that same situation presents itself, you're going to be the guy they call, and then maybe you'll get that job. The other thing is don't bend your customer over. Don't take them to the cleaners on the first job.
No. You know,
I don't even care if I make a profit
the first
on
time,
my
yeah.
first job. And that's literally why I think that's the singular reason why I've developed the relationship with basically a concierge service to really, really wealthy customers for their cars, is because I know that they got money. They know that I know that they have money. And I particularly, specifically tell them, like, look, I'm not going to bend you over on this, Brett. Like, I'm not going to take you to the cleaners on this thing, dude. And they don't necessarily believe me because it sounds like
They all sound like, yeah, they all, you say that every time.
When they see I deliver the service with the integrity to the level of concierge and ass kissing that I do, and give them everything that they want, and then my bill like makes sense and it's super detailed, dude, they tell their other rich friend that's typically richer than them. Or when their buddy says, hey, Brett, I remember you got your car. Hey, who works on your cars?
Right.
You know, and
Well,
that's literally why I've got it. I got 2 customers that'll remain nameless, and those guys have referred me to their circle of friends, to where I'm just super blessed to work on the most amazing vehicles.
Well, what you're stating is an old statement I've heard years ago in business. You can shear a sheep many times.
Yeah, valid point. Yeah, true.
You can skin them once.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I use the term that there's more than one way to skin a cat, which I don't know why that ever came to be a saying, but what I guess there is. It could have been like a squirrel or something. Who the hell skins cats? But anyway,
I have my theories on that.
a customer will say that as well. A lot of the time, the customer feels like they're, I don't know, like the Porsche 996 that you're gonna rebuild the motor for. Yeah, exactly. Story for later.
An inspection.
Yeah. So, but like the guy comes with me with a car. Oh, we could do this, and it's like, okay, well we could, but we could also do this. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Okay, you need to get this done, but have you thought about this option, and this option? Chances are, and not to sound pretentious, being in the industry long enough, I sincerely hope that I would have a better idea than the customer as to how to achieve what he wants.
Well, they're coming.
Would.
Well,
they're obviously coming to me for a reason.
Well, yeah. Well, what you're mentioning is consulting. You know, because a smart customer, and this is another topic. It's weird. I can't count the number of customers I've met that highly educated, very smart, in their 40s, 50s, highly accomplished, capable people that have done things that make you go, wow, this guy's really...
Yeah, this is serious. Yeah.
And then it comes to their car and you're like, what? You're like, it's like their brain turns off.
Just dumber than a box of rocks.
When it gets to their car. And not that they don't understand it, but it's like, you just see all their faculties turn off because they're so excited about the car.
Yep.
I want this car.
Sure, Michelangelo probably wasn't really good at doing a lot of other things. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. I mean, you think that, but it's like, how did you get in this position? You literally don't know that there's spark plugs on a car. But hey, that's my job.
Right.
I don't ever look down on the customer, and everybody's good at something.
Well, and
my customers are really, really good at making money, apparently.
And like for me as a shop,
very good.
One of the reasons I got into the shop was because I dealt with enough paint and body shops and knew who the good ones were. I dealt with enough interior shops and knew who the good ones are.
Exactly, yeah.
And so by the time I did this, I was confident because I had this pretty solid network of people I could sub out to for things that I don't do.
Yep, exactly.
You know, because like
the best of the best. That's the best.
Yeah. And so
wait, I can go to him instead of having to hire or try to hire 3 guys
or send it to another state.
Yeah. Well, it was the best is when I had my business and I had 15 techs. You're trying to do everything under one roof, or at least as most as humanly possible. You know what I mean?
For in-house efficiencies, yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, well, I want a guy that can, you know, I need an engine builder. Okay, massive check. You know what I mean? Okay, well then you're doing everything that's super fun with hiring an employee, and that whole process and the responsibility, and hoping he shows up to work that day.
But even then, when it comes
I'd
to
rather
employees,
sub out the work to the best shop that's specific at doing that.
Because you're talking to another business owner, not an employee.
Exactly.
And another business owner understands what an employee does not.
Yep.
And that's why I prefer to do it the way I did it, because like, I don't, having done the employee thing myself.
It's a lot easier to find the best engine shop in town than it is to hire the best engine builder in town.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be able to provide him the machines and facilities he needs to do the job as well as he needs to do.
I mean, even if you could, it's literally like, who do you want to paint your car? Do you want to, when you're naive like I was, and you're like, oh, I need to get the best painter around, you know, and this is where, you know, full circle again is like, now it's like literally, I just want to find the best shop. And I've been in the industry in Houston and been in the industry in a hole long enough that I know who the best people are.
That's it.
And if I have that job, we got a Porsche 550 blank check build that we're doing on a 550 Spider replica. And I know who the best people are. It's Fiber Steel, and it's Ross at Fiber Steel and his son, Nick. So guess who got the phone call? Ross, Nick. Hey, man, my name's Jeremy. I'm in Houston. You have absolutely no idea who I am, but I have a project, and I got a really good customer, and I need the best of everything on this car, and you're the best.
Yeah.
And that's literally what I do with everything. You know what I mean? I have no employees at my shop. It's me, and I sub everything out to the best of the best of the best, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. So that's when it comes to the back, like, did I build the car? And that's why it's always like immediately like, I don't want to say, because I remember I bought a car and I did a whole bunch of stuff to it, and I said, like, on social media, like on Instagram, like I built the car, and dude, I got lit up, like, to the point where the car, he probably still has me blocked, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong, but I didn't know, because I thought I had done enough to the car that, like, I built it, but I didn't. and I know that now, and I was quickly told that then. But yeah, that term built it's a real strong, it's almost as strong as exclusive. But nonetheless, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I facilitate the build. I have a lot of really
Project manager.
yeah, project manager, whatever you want to say.
and that's it.
But people always tell me that. The only thing that
We
I
are
didn't even
project
build my own
managers.
Porsche.
Right.
I didn't vinyl wrap the car. I'm not going to take credit for it. I know I'm the one that designed it as far as
The
I want
overall.
this color here, I want these wheels, I want this, but when I needed an alignment, it went to this place. When the tires got mounted, it went here.
I mean, and that's why, like,
So I'm reluctant to say I built it.
right.
Yeah.
And like, so
My team built it.
right. And so, like, my big thing was I wanted to have a shop that wasn't just my toys. I wanted to have a core competency that people could say, yeah, Frank's shop's really good at. And had to spend a long time bouncing around between different ideas and specialties before I decided.
What the fit was. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And, but because ultimately I'm a performance driver on road courses, and that's my thing. And ultimately,
It's the best thing.
yeah, for me it is. I mean, I dig it.
It's the best sport, period.
And the alignment rack was the core piece of equipment I thought was the most crucial thing I could do. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen the string alignments, and they're cool and handy, especially at tracks.
Yeah, I don't know who you're taking up for it. Who are you defending in the string? Are you going to get like a bunch of texts tonight? Ah, Frank, you suck. String alignments are the best. Yeah,
No, I've watched
that's what I want on my race car.
Yeah, but I mean, that's because you can't
I don't
load
want
up
Frank's alignment. I want a string alignment in the parking lot.
Well, I can't load up a $30,000 scissor lift and just carry it off to the
True.
track.
Yeah.
But no, so I have to say, like, in my shop, I know our core competency is, wheels, brakes, and suspension setup, and the alignment rack is the key to that.
Yeah. No,
And that's-
when I first met, I could tell that's what, like,
I think
there was a lot of things in your shop going on, like wild freaking cars. But I could tell that was something that, a piece of equipment that you were proud of, and that you were proud at the knowledge that you had in that.
put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. Well, it shows.
Wait,
I'll pat you on the back. Yeah.
but everything else, yeah, I'm a project manager, and of course, I'm a project manager, and I try to be a tuner, and oh god, that's hard.
No, I don't.
I didn't even try and paint because once I saw, because
I can't imagine tuning. That's a special breed in itself.
and then, but like
Like tuning is more than flashing a cob access port. If you think
Yeah.
you're a tuner because you're uploading somebody else's tune,
you're not a tuner.
you're a tuner just as much as I'm an engine builder.
Right. And when I was racing motorcycles, the shop that I worked at, that I crew chief for racing motorcycles, they did paint work on paint and body work, and I would do the prep work and I do some polishing for them. And I saw the talent these guys had. The two guys, one guy was really good at spraying and getting it down pat. The other guy could spray well, but he had an eye. This guy could match colors. I mean, and we'd taken a bike that was full custom, and I'd see those pearls and weird things going on in the paint. I'm like,
metallics. Yep.
dude, you're done.
screwed.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna get this job done.
no
Much
way.
less make money on it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I was like, do you have the formula for that color? I'll figure it out.
Yeah. He just knows what goes into it.
And
That's experience.
and
right
that
there.
blew me
Yeah.
away. The guy was 27 years old,
Holy hell! Wow.
and he'd lay in the sunlight and he'd hold the cup. And of course, the what the color looks like in the cup is nothing like it looks like it's going to spray.
No, absolutely. And then what you're spraying it on is totally different.
Yeah, and so he would do that. Look, get the light on it. Needs a little more yellow, and I'd look at him like, how does yellow even play a role in that
Right.
color?
No, I know that.
So his
Have you
understanding.
ever seen a gallon of paint getting mixed? Like even at Home Depot?
Yeah, it's
Like
all
you're getting like purple paint and you're like, why the hell is there brown and yellow and orange?
Why is there brown and yellow and orange in it? Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
17 colors. You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, and I absolutely marveled at this guy's. And not only would he know what color to put into it, but he could translate what it looked like in the cup to what it was going to look like sprayed and dried on the plastic.
After clear coated.
Yeah.
No, that's a skill.
I just like, how do you even?
And just to quickly explain how hard that is, when I was in Australia, I was based out of another shop. I had like 5 other cars to paint while I was there. Besides that McLaren, we were at this super high end shop. Like he had 3 F40s in there. two F50s, and they weren't even legal. You can't drive those cars in the streets in Australia because the seat's on the wrong side. And if you think you can mod your cars in Australia, you can't.
Oh, really?
You can't. One of the painters had put at the time there was like these cool sidewall stickers, you know, like it would say Pirelli on it with some slashes like that. They literally, you get a repair order in Australia for having those on your car. It's they don't bullshit over there.
Wow.
Yeah, they got some really cool cars over in Australia, but you're not modding a car and driving it on a street.
Oh,
absolutely not. Not in Sydney. But anyway,
we'd have a hard time with that.
Oh no, I would be in jail. So the first time, and to the extent of, there was I don't know what year it was a Santa Fe, a Hyundai Santa Fe, and it had a pearl white paint. And this poor SOB car painter there, and mind you, this was a shop that was working on F40s, F50s, like super high-end place. I was there for a couple days working on these other cars. He had 14 paint swatches out for one paint code. For the Hyundai Santa Fe, whatever the paint code is for that pearl white that basically every Hyundai Santa Fe is, it's a white, it's a pearl white color. But there was 14 spray outs on the hood of that car, and it still didn't match. And it was just white.
Yeah.
So to be able to do what you're talking about, you're doing, that's a whole different thing. And,
Exactly.
And because of me spraying all the pearls, and I know way too much about metallics, glitter, pearls, and it all comes in different sizes. It starts at 5 and under UM, and then it'll go up to like a 300, 700 UM, which UM is just unit of measurement. So it'll basically be the size of dust to the size of like if chunks of fish food, to where it'll literally pearl will look like metal flake.
Right.
So to know how that's going to lay on top of each other and be able to eyeball what size pearl that is despite the color, because there was one paint code for that Hyundai Santa Fe. This was at a paint shop. They had the code for it. They had the machine that made the paint. There was no, I'm just trying to bullshit it.
But it wasn't.
It can be that hard.
wasn't lining
No, I'll
up.
never forget it, man. 14. And I still use that analogy when customers are like, hey, can you fix my door?
Can't you just?
And I'm like, the chances of your door blending with your fender is like, I'm going to go make a rocket and go to the moon tomorrow. So, yeah.
Yeah. So having seen that and tried to spray, and they set me up to try and do different things, and I saw very quickly, yeah, I could do this, but the amount of time, the number of years I'd have to put into it to get close to the skill level that they could just do right now.
Yep.
I'd still be there working on that. I mean,
Today,
it's
right
not
now.
gonna, yeah, it wouldn't. And you know, you look at it and go, okay, I now have that another level of appreciation for the talent involved, and there's too many people out there that can do it at this level that I'll never achieve. I need to go find something else I can do.
I wish I was 20 years younger. I would get into metalworking.
Yeah.
Like old school, like literally making aluminum paneled full-bodied cars.
I'm about to take a welding class.
Yeah.
Because I've owned a $10,000 welding machine for 4 years I don't know how to use.
Interesting.
And
maybe we can take it together. I need to learn how to weld
Right.
before I die. It's
Yeah,
on my
right.
bucket list.
why not keep running
More than taking like 2 pieces of like iron for my tractor, because I can like stick weld like with a blindfold like Ray Charles, but it's nothing that I would ever like show anybody.
Right. No, it's
Not even my wife.
and even
She wouldn't even be proud.
and you could probably that probably puts you in a whole nother level beyond me even. And I bought the machine because I all the techs who were working with me at the time could weld.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent $1,200 on the proper sized extension cord so this thing could go across
Holy
the
hell.
shop,
Wow.
because I've got literally a 90-foot extension cord for this monster,
Jeez.
because it's the 220 heavy.
Yeah, big, heavy duty. Yeah.
And I can't. It's so it's 138 pounds coiled up because it's that
Holy
big
hell.
around,
Wow.
and I can't quite.
That's ridiculous. No, I got a guy up in Conroe.
I've got to have the best, right?
No, and that's it. I got there's a when I was in high school, and I had my lowrider, which was such a piece of crap compared to Fred Grafey's. And Fred Grafey is probably to this day the most skilled auto. And I was in high. I mean, this was 1994. We're in high school. We're both in high school. He had a Ford Ranger lowrider. He made a custom dash out of metal for
Custom.
a dashboard The dashboard is the most ignorant part of a vehicle. I'd rather pull 3 motors than pull a dash. Any day, any motor, anywhere.
Same here. I
Matter
mean,
of fact, there's somebody at my shop right now pulling a dash because I hate pulling them so much.
they are not fun.
Fred Grafey made his own. The truck was channeled, chopped. He literally chopped the top, like the windshield, like a chopped top Ford Ranger. Everything that he did, I wanted to do with mine, but had no
skills to back it. Yeah,
no skills. And he would feel sorry for me and help me out sometimes. Fred ended up making cars for Ford Motorsports for Roush Racing.
Whoa.
Like blank check builds. Did the most absurd things to cars. But anyway, back in like the early 90s, Fred was so skilled. He was making his own custom dashes on a Ford Ranger to where he could have a Nintendo in with the little mini TV. In 1994, this is how cool this kid was. Shaved door handles, shaved mirrors, bumpers, everything. Oh, he painted his own cars, of course.
And let me guess. He didn't have no fiberglass fill.
Oh no,
he had the metal.
No, it was all metal. And he was all self-taught. Unfreaking believable. So with that being said, there's a guy, Tyler Kirk, up in Conroe, and really young. I don't know how old he is. I mean, if he's 25, I'd be impressed. He's like Fred Grafey. Like I see that level in him. I mean,
natural talent, that understanding, that just
of metalwork, of an old school thing. He's metalwork. He's making the full custom interior for Porsche 550. He's done multiple kits for us now because, well, like the entrepreneurial thing. I have a 550 replica. I don't want all the ugly crap carpet that comes with a kit car because it looks so stupid.
It does, but
so I ripped it and cut it all out, and I want full aluminum. I spent a year messaging, emailing, and calling people literally all over the world, because you can go on Instagram and type in like hashtag 550 replica, and you'll find some crazy German dude who did a full aluminum interior that looks like an exact replica of a Porsche 550 Spider.
The actual race car.
If you don't know what a 550 Spider is, it's like the famous car that James Dean died in, yada, yada, yada. Awesome, amazing car. They made in 90. Look it up. So I wanted to do the full aluminum interior. I searched for years. Nobody would make one. So boom, I make my own kit now. So we have a kit for the Beck 550 and the Vintage Motor Cars 550. But only because this kid...
Here in Conroe.
And what he's doing for me is like me folding a napkin for you.
Right.
Like it's bullshit work.
For him.
For him.
But for you, it's like
the skill that he has, he could make this freaking microphone and everything in this room out of aluminum. It is just God-given skill. Super, super young. Totally reminds me of Fred Grafey. But back to the point, that's the best dude that I know. Like I was literally looking for the best guy. And there's a lot of really good metal workers. Metalwork's an old thing, but
and
whatever.
Machinists.
Exactly, same thing. But I got a really good one of them. But Tyler, young dude, amazing, stupid amazing with metal. But I wish I was 20 years younger. I'd have him be teaching me. I'd work for him for free. But that would be what I want to make, like a full aluminum bodied car. So
see, you get me thinking.
No, I have a client that's ready to buy one. We're looking at one to get. So it's on my bucket list because I've never done it. So it's something to do. You know what I mean?
Love this.
But no, it's just super cool, man. It's get to live vicariously through my customers, which changes. Like I don't need to build a Ferrari F12. I had a client, and this is how berserk, talking about body kits. This was a 1 of 11. Hold on, let me think what it was. It was a Ferrari F12 and Largo N space Largo S.
Was that the car you had over?
Novatech wide body.
The one that I saw.
The super red obnoxious one. It sounded like
crazy.
Schumacher's Formula 1
and
car.
It was so loud.
Yeah, so it was a Ferrari F12 and Largo S Novatech wide body. And that's not some bullshit. That's literally the type it in. It's
that full build's like a 6-figure build on top of the $500,000 car.
Yeah. So the body kit is 1 of 11. This was the first of 1 of 11. The body kit alone is $232,000. Not installed, not shipped,
just for the parts,
not fitted, not painted. For a box to arrive in Irvine, California, it was $232,000. $8,000.
Who built? Who? I mean,
Novatech.
Where'd it come from?
Novatech.
In
Germany or wherever Novatech is from.
Wow.
Most of them,
I thought
some of the more expensive
Yeah.
aftermarket Ferrari
so
parts.
this came from European craftsmen.
Yeah, whoever made it for them.
Yeah.
And I'm talking full quarter panels.
Yeah.
Full,
Complete replacement.
full rear bumper. Like the car came from
Not
Ferrari.
just taped on the edge.
Oh no. This wasn't some bullshit wide body
Right.
like and
Modified flares and
no. This was literally an entire front bumper, front fenders with the blades, the hood, side skirts, rear quarter panels, all grafted onto the car, and then a full rear bumper. And it made the car not like an inch or two. It was like, I mean, it was probably like 8 inches wide. It was insanity how wide this car was.
And the F12, it's funny because first time I saw an F12, I was like, it's kind of skinny looking.
Yeah, they're very narrow. Like they're kind of, it kind of reminds me like of a shark almost. Like well, not a shark, maybe like a hammerhead. It's just very narrow.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
So I mean, it's a car that it's a car that benefits very well from a
there's not
from a wide kit.
If you wide bodied, I don't know if you had the ability to add the pictures in the green screen, but I'll send you some pictures if we do.
We can have
or link to the video. I was fortunate enough, again, because I have awesome customers. I had a company reach out to me that wanted to put some wheels on it. Actually, I'm lying. I needed to get the wheels fixed, and because I'm proficient at marketing and I was fully aware of the fact of what I had, I just called Floodwater wheel company, awesome guys in Houston, Texas, and I was like, hey, I got this like
it's a crazy car. These wheels,
$750,000 custom Ferrari. It's like one of 4 in the United States right now. I need some wheels, man. Like we can do whatever you want video with it. So I was ripping donuts in a car that I later sold for $675,000 to a gentleman. It's now in Canada. I got to sit there and just flog this car, roast the tires off of it. I drifted the car all through Ferrata's parking lot. Ooh. It was amazing. Do whatever I wanted with the vehicle.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, I was a professional driver, closed course type of deal.
But
that's the ability that I have with the customers, all going back to the don't be a shithead philosophy.
I love it. All right.
Super cool.
I do want to,
did I not tell you? I told you that yesterday.
An hour and 45 has gone in the blink of an eye, brother. And I didn't.
The producer literally left, went grocery shopping,
brought his kids and came back while we're talking.
Brought his kids from school and came back.
And I mean, and I feel like all we've done here is scratch the surface because I could spend all day.
No, I was literally wondering. I was like, this is going to be embarrassing. This is going to be like part 1 of 6 with Jeremy Rohrs.
But here's the fun of it. So far, every one of my guests have all said, "Man, I just scratched the surface with you. Can I come back?"
No, if I literally, just as we forgot, as I completely blanked out on something like being on a national TV show, Are You Faster Than a Redneck, and winning the TV show, completely blanked out of my mind. A lot of the things that I've been very fortunate to get into, it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I'll post something up. The last thing I'll say is I got this kind of bad rap. Like if I went on and posted up on Facebook today that like I blew a tire on the Gurkha, and post, they'd be like, man, Jeremy's got the worst luck, man. Dude, if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all. And it
would seem like that with the Porsche.
It would. But the irony of it is that how lucky one was I to even own a Porsche, to be into that. What kind of ass am I to boo-hoo about a Porsche 911 that gets totaled out when there's a guy up the street panhandling for money to eat at night, and I'm going to sit there and bitch that my fancy car got messed up that's fully insured?
We are blessed beyond believability.
So, but with that being said, though, I get a thing like, oh man, Jeremy, you got such bad luck. No, I put myself into more situations in a year than most people do in their entire lives. The more times you put yourself out there, the more chance you have of something happening. But a blown tire, my 911 getting totaled out, life is ups, life is downs. 5 minutes before my 911 got totaled out, I just cashed a $25,000 commission check for hustling some electrical equipment on the side, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you posting that because I thought...
literally took a picture of the check in my hand. I left the bank and I was driving home, and not 5 minutes later, I got hit through a sign into a ditch. My whole entire car destroyed.
I remember the pictures about the electrical equipment. I literally saw that you posted. I thought, what is Jerry trying to sell here? What is? And I was almost.
This is for episode 2.
There you go. Yeah.
Frank likes Bitcoin. So
That's funny.
yeah,
That's good stuff.
But anyway, another day, another time. But no, I had a blast, man. It was good talking to you. I told you that, like, literally, I like to talk.
I'm here.
I don't know anybody that likes to talk more than Frank. Because if I ever went anywhere near Frank's, I knew I had to have 2 hours because Frank was going to pull me over and we were going to get sucked into some rabbit hole.
Yeah, what are we doing now?
A good one.
What'd you
It's
build?
always
Yeah.
fun talking with Frank. So awesome. Thank you so much. It was a blast. I appreciate
for
it.
coming,
Great
brother.
time. Absolutely.
Look at now. You know what? I don't even think we told him exactly
You don't have to because I don't need any.
your name of your business and what it does.
My name of my business is Floodwater Customs.
Floodwater Customs.
It's not because we work on floodwater vehicles or like proficient in flooded cars or doing anything that's big. People think because I've been recently doing some vehicle modifications on SWAT vehicles, which were very large, high water vehicles. People think that's why it's Floodwater. It's not. Like I said before, if you weren't here for the 2-hour marathon of Frank and I talking, I said that it's because in 5 years, 3 out of 5 years, my shops got flooded out. Memorial Day, Tax Day, and Hurricane Harvey floods in Houston. So I said, F it. And my shop, Southside Performance and Pearls and Pigments, closed down on the books, and I opened Floodwater Customs. But my business is called Floodwater Customs. You can see us on Instagram. I don't do a lot of social media because I have a really, really good customer base that I don't need to. But if you ever need advice, even if I work on your car or not, I'm a lot like Frank. You can call me anytime, email me. If you have a question about your RV, I don't know anything about RVs, but give me a call. I'll find the best person to answer your question about RVs. I really, really enjoy helping people out. I just try to be a good person in the community and at least point people in the right direction where they go. But Floodwater Customs, Houston, Texas, Magnolia, Woodlands area. And yeah, that's about it, man.
I couldn't have said it any better. Jeremy, thank you again.
Hey, thanks so much, man. It was my pleasure.
Awesome. See you, brother.